Hey guys, welcome back, and this is pretty much gonna be one of my last videos for this early access server. But today I explicitly want to just talk about everything that you need to know with the brand new Anomaly Arbitration reset, which is gonna feature our brand new Sky Titan Aquila. Right? So I really cleared everything, Night 1, Night 2, and Night 3, as well as the actual gameplay itself. I'll show you guys what are the boss mechanics for each of the individual nights as well as Aquila, but this main video should be focused on this boss, which I think is gonna be very different from the original impressions that are gonna be getting from fighting Lygus for I would say the past 6 weeks. So without further ado, let's get into today's content. Alright, so first things first, I'm just gonna briefly touch on this just a little bit because Night 1, Night 2, and Night 3, we are gonna be getting a fresh set of enemies. This first wave is pretty much gonna be the Xianzhou Elite, and the mechanics are gonna be taunting. So if you attack them 6 times, they're gonna be attacking you back. Now this might not seem like that big of a deal, but when you take a look into the enemies, you will know that Automatron, Spectral Envoy, as well as Howling Cascade, these two are extremely annoying because of the amount of crowd controls they can actually do to you, right? So they actually stun you. So this fella, she will apply the mark, and if you get hit multiple times, you're gonna get stunned. And this dog pretty much just like spawns almost like constantly, and you're gonna be fighting against, I believe, a grand total of like 5 elites if I'm not wrong. I'll just show you guys the clear a little bit, but just keep in mind that for the very first night, you do want to focus on either having a lot of cleanse, or if you want an easier way out, just run Phainon, right? Because Phainon is completely immune to crowd control. Running him over here is gonna make your life a lot more straightforward. I'm not even sure if you're gonna be running highest on DHPT or even like Hue or any cleansers can actually give you enough to actually sustain the amount of crowd control they're going to be facing for this particular boss over here, right? So that's going to be the first one. And then for Night 2 is actually going to be our good old-fashioned Hule. And then his mechanic is basically if you attack them, you are going to lose 5 or 10 action value. So it's gonna push your team backwards the more you attack them. On top of that, we also have a very similar mechanic, which is from the Lygus, where if you attack the enemy, you actually lose 2 energy unless your energy is maxed out. But if you do defeat the attacker, you're gonna be getting back 10 energy. So generally speaking, I think this Night 2 is gonna be a little bit more straightforward. You can kind of just run whatever you want to run. Ideally, you don't want somebody that can actually hit them too frequently, so that you're not gonna be getting hit with these action value delays. So a little bit more universal, I would say, right? At least compared to Night 1. And then Night 3 is gonna be our good old-fashioned. So this is the exact same buff that we saw from the previous rotation, which is gonna be the Puppet Trio, but this time it's gonna be for the TV boss, which I think we all know by now. If you have a Super Break team, run any Super Break team over here is gonna get the job done very easily. If you do not have Super Break, I do believe that any area of effect units, so your Tribi with Dioda, with your E1 Mighty, with your next over here with the Ruinous Breaking, anyone that has area of effect or have extremely high toughness bar damage is gonna be able to get Night 3 out of the way pretty straightforward, right? So these are gonna be the Night 1, Night 2, and Night 3. I would say that between all 3 nights, if you do not have Phainon, I think this night is probably going to be the most annoying because the amount of crowd control that you are going to be taking is going to be honestly quite insane, right? So with that being established, Night 1, Night 2, Night 3, what exactly are the teams you're going to be running? For Night 1, like I mentioned, I think Phainon is going to be an excellent team over here because you basically have complete immunity. It's not really so that they hit you frequently, it's just so that because all of their hits have a lot of crowd control. So you get a fear, you get a stun, and this guy just does like quite a decent chunk of damage as well. So you ideally want to get someone, you do have Phainon, you kind of run anyone as long as you keep your team alive and you don't hit them as much so that you don't get as many crowd control, right? So that's gonna be Night 1. For Night 2, frankly speaking, I think it's gonna be a lot more flexible. I went with the Anexa build over here alongside with your Cyrene. Then between Phainon and Anexa, I would say that Anexa is gonna be the one that can utilize your Cyrene more, which is also an example of just showing you guys where exactly do you want to give Cyrene to the different crystal series. So for Phainon himself, he's gonna be able to work perfectly fine, especially because this is really gonna be an E2 Phainon. So I think this investment is gonna be completely okay to do the Night 1. And then for this Anexa build, because he's gonna be standing quite a lot to gain, especially because we're running higher as well as arms to generate the stacks. This will allow my Cyrene to get out of the stacks as fast as possible, even though Anexa does not have Ceridra. So I'm going to be giving Ceridra to the Phainon, and Anexa is going to be running this RMC over here to give as many stacks to Cyrene, which will then get our action value advance for Anexa himself. Then our last team is the good old-fashioned Super Break. So right, if you have any Super Break team, run Mayfield plus Lingsha plus any like Firefly, Rabba, whatever it's going to be. Or if you do not have this, you can go for the Tribi. Right, so we do not use our Tribi over here. You can run like a Tribi plus Dioda plus any AO of effect damage. You're pretty much going to be doing this because for this TV boss, it's pretty much almost the exact same. You want to try to time your energies as well as skill point recovery from the mobs which you are going to be hitting, which you've been playing ever since I think for the past 6 months. So nothing too crazy to talk about. So with all that being established, let's get into the run itself. Okay, so this is going to be done with our Phainon Ceridra Sunday as well as DHPT. Unfortunately, I can't make everything as E0 because by the time this video was done, I already finished up my 0 cycle. So don't worry about it too much. This is going to be E2 as on Phainon, I believe E1 as on Ceridra, E0 as on Sunday, as well as a E0 as one DHPT, right? So at the start, it's going to be playing Phainon exactly as what you would play Phainon with. Alright, get in your skills. Okay, wait, pause. Alright, get in your skills, get in your stacks. Alright, All these are going to be fine. Actually, getting hit a little bit here is actually going to be okay. We're just going to let this go right now. Because we're definitely going to be able to get to 12 stacks by the time Sunday takes action. So this is what I mean by the crowd control, right? So because they have a lot of crowd controls, your units, if you do not have a cleanser on command immediately, it is going to be really annoying to deal with, right? But because we are going to be running Phainon throughout the grand course of the battle, this is not going to be that big of a deal. So we're going to be going for the scale. Then Sunday's going to pull us up. Speed tune perfectly, and then this is going to be 6 out of 6. And then we're just going to enter into our state. Now, because Phainon doesn't really care whether Cyrene is going to be crowd control, we can just instantly run this. So this part is where it's got a little bit annoying because the dogs, right, these hounds, they will pretty much just spawn infinitely. So it will distribute away Phainon's damage by a pretty annoying amount of margin. So, yep, this is the second wave. And you can see that, I think a grand total, we're going to be fighting, it's either 4 or 5 elites. So this is our first two. We spawn a new elite over here, then you will always see one of these hounds spawning, so it's never going to go away, right? So at this point, you kind of just want to just bring them all up, because you want to generate as many stacks as possible, getting all of the counters, and because Phainon is completely immune to crowd control, we don't really care that they hit us, because frankly speaking, their actual damage themselves is actually not that crazy, right? It's not, you can see our shield is like extremely healthy. If you want to run RMC over DHPD for a sustainers run, I think that's going to be completely fine here as well, alongside with Cyrene, but at this point, we're just going to be going for it over here. Slam this back down. 1.3. So we clear 2 of the mobs. The dog here dies. Yep, so a grand total of 4 elites, right? So it's gonna be 2 of these and 2 of these. And then these dogs will always come in to fill the stage, which is a little bit annoying, especially if you're gonna be using any unit with Phainon, where he does not get crowd control, but the damage will be split a little bit more. I feel like the grand scale of this, you do have like a lot of damage. Within the 0 cycles, you're should be able to easily get this within 2 cycles, because this is ultimately at E2 Phainon. But I believe that even at E0, you are going to be dealing way more than enough. So we are already pretty much all the way done here. We're just going to pull them up one more time. So this is a very comfortable 0 cycle. If you do not have E2 Phainon, even at E0, I think this is going to be more than sufficient to get yourself the 3 cell clear. So, yep, that's pretty much it, right? The dog is going to come. I'm pretty sure this dog spawns a new one. This thing is going to pop. Oh, okay, never mind. I stand corrected. The dogs do not infinitely spawn. Okay, my bad, right? So they actually do not infinitely spawn. They only have, I believe that was a grand total of 3, 4, is that a 4 or 5? But in any case, once the dogs die, then they just die. So that's gonna be fine. Then we're gonna be able to get the 0 cycle over here. Very easy. That's pretty much it. So I would say that for night 1, getting your either Phainon, okay, sure. Getting either your Phainon or any units that can deal with the crowd controls by hitting them not as frequently. So units like your Hui, your Hyacinth, or Fushan, I don't think it's going to be too ideal, because you are not going to be having enough dispels against the amount of times you're going to be getting hit, right? So this is pretty much a crowd control check, right? So night 1 is basically a crowd control check. So either Phainon or any units that can get you away from the crowd control, that's going to be that, right? So there is night 1. Then coming into night 2, I would say that for this stage, you can run Castorice, you can run Anexa, you can run a lot of different types of units, because I would say this is not super niche. So we're just gonna take a look at what we are gonna be taking over here. I ideally don't want to use Castorice and Tribi and Evernight, because you guys have seen the team a billion times. So we're just gonna be taking a look at Anexa with RMC. This is E2 S1 Anexa, RMC, E0 S1 Hyacinth, as well as E0 S1 Cyrene. Right, so we're gonna go over here. Some of the goons. 100% action value. We can just pull up a Nexa. Doesn't really matter that much. So we get the true damage, because the action value bar was already going to be 5 away from Cyrene. So we go for the double bounce over here. Cyrene is going to just continuously spam her skill. And then we're going to come here. Now for the very first wave, you're going to notice that this guy, he's going to enter into like a taunt mode. Right, so you want to trigger this as many as possible to reduce this count, right? So there is this count thingy. World, right? After being hit by attacks, use torque counter and loses 1 stack. When this reaches 0, then you're gonna pretty much be dispelling this charging state. So you just want to hit them. Yep, you just get rid of just get rid of the stacks essentially, right? So it's gonna hit. It's all good. So Hyacinth is just gonna continuously use her basic attack, because we are gonna be generating all of our skill points for Anexa as well as Cyrene. So this is gonna come into sublimation. We're gonna get ourselves the skill. Arms is gonna use her enhanced basic, because this is gonna be after the buff. Then we have 1 skill point left. 100% we got hit with the AoE. A little bit unfortunate because my Anexa was just about to go. So what I'm going to do here is just give up my Cyrene. So that once my Cyrene gets an additional action, after my Anexa goes, we're pretty much going to be getting into our ultimate state, right? So this 30 action value versus our 18 action value over here. So we're going to pull up Cyrene. We're going to cast a basic because we're definitely going to be 24. I want to generate a little bit more stacks for RMC so that if that's going to be possible, I can get my true damage for Anexa. Because I do believe my Anexa does not have true damage. So we're going to come in over here. We're in no rush to use our Cyrene ultimate. It's okay because we can actually just stall a little bit. I want to wait for RM system to begin so I can get off another free ultimate. So Hyacinth is going to come in. We're going to continue with our basic. Then once RMC goes for the skill over here into the ultimate, we can let this go, right? If you want to save 1 skill point by winning 10 action value, that's fine. But I'm just going to go for it right now because we are not going to be in a skill point issue. Because Hyacinth is constantly using a basic. So we're going to buff RMC once. Bro, let Mimi pull out my Anexa first because I want to apply my true damage debuff. Or rather, true damage buff. Then we activate our ultimate. Now at this point, we can just go ahead with the rest of our kit. I want to save my Hyacinth ultimate to see if I really need it because I think we might just be able to kill this from this particular AV. So this is going to be the double hit. Then we're gonna generate our Cyrene to pull out my Anexa again. She will let go of a enhanced basic. We get rid of 1 skill point, and then just nice, we're gonna kill it with this wave over here, and this will bounce into Hule, perfectly landing us the hit. So the wolf is gonna spawn. We're gonna apply our winners right here to try to get rid of the wolf, because if we get rid of the wolf, it's gonna be less bounces for Anexa himself. So the wolf dies. We're just gonna go for the basic. Activate Hyacinth's ultimate on her turn, as always. Then continuously use a basic with Hyacinth, right? Our skill point is not going to be any issue here. Now, you can activate a Cyrene ultimate, but I kind of want to save up a little bit more action value because we could get an additional turn with RMC. So I'm just going to be saving this up because you can hoard this all the way under 27 seconds. So there's no reason to rush and use Cyrene's ultimate immediately. Then we're just going to continuously use our enhanced basic. 91%. This pushing. Okay. So at this particular point, you can see that this was 98 AV. So if I didn't use it right here, we are pretty much going to waste the 98 AV because my Anexa is going to get pulled up by Mimi, or at least before Mimi. So I do that at this point. I just want to save at 23 AV, pull bro back up. Alright, so I'll go immediately after Mimi gives us the extra value advance. So this is to reduce the amount of AV wastage and just instantly jump back into the fight. Then Mimi will pull me back up immediately, right? Because at that point of time, if I didn't use it, I would have wasted quite a decent chunk of extra value. So I didn't really want to have that. And I believe this should be able to get us close to... Okay, 6% is honestly very, very unfortunate. We'll see if we can save a Nexus ultimate for the next wave, because I want to implant my winners as fast as possible. 4%. This is 4%. 2%. It does appear that it is not going to be too possible to get a clear here. At this point, I'm just going to try to get a kill with Hyacinth. If it's not possible, then it's going to be a little bit unfortunate. Ooh, that is really, really... Okay, this is definitely going to get a kill. So it's going to hit 0. Okay, now we can implant our Anexa ultimate. So we can get our weaknesses. Anexa is going to be 23 AV away, so I want to wait my Cyrene ultimate. It's going to hit, that's all good. Mimi is going to go for the hit. Yeah, we can go for the basic here. Mimi is going to go for the punch. We can activate our ult right here. So this is going to be 96. And the moment my Anexa goes, it's going to get into the double skill, which means we're going to get 100% action for the advance from Mimi again, right? Hello? Okay, yep, there we go. So we're going to get the hit over here. Then we'll pull Anexa back up immediately. And then we'll come right here, right? Just how we lost that 1 skill boss, I think one of the weaknesses got lost because it wasn't 4 weakness, or rather, it wasn't 5 weakness. So a little bit unfortunate we lost that 1 skill, but not that big of a deal. Then we're just gonna apply our Hyacinth thingies. Goes for the dude. Single target, then Anexa just gonna continuously deal his things. 700, 600, and then I'm almost positive that we get the kill right here. Because you can see my Anexa is not gonna get an extra turn anymore. So the moment we go here, we can instantly pull back up with Cyrene. Gets us 1 more turn on Anexa. And then this is gonna get us the clear onto Hule. Or maybe Cyrene just kills. Okay, 7% HP. Double. Okay, you know what? Classic is classic. So that is gonna be pretty much it for Hule. I think generally speaking, this fight is gonna be, yeah, like I mentioned, a lot more room for flexibility. So you can kind of just run like whatever kind of team cons that you actually want for. At least for Night 2 is like the more universal one in my opinion. As long as they're not too reliant on your energy, right? Because you're gonna be losing both energy as well as action value. So ideally, you probably don't want to run units like Sunday here, because for the times where we run units with Sunday, they always tie into 133, 134 most of the time. So this mechanic over here, it will really ruin your action value tuning, especially if you're going to main DPS plus Sunday. So for example, if your Nexa goes before Sunday, or if Sunday goes before Nexa, it might push you way back, which will ruin the overall rotations you're going to be having with your entire team, right? So at the end of the day, as long as you can clear this, right, the right elements, all that kind of stuff, you shouldn't be having too many issues for Night 2, right? So that's going to be that with our Nexa. And then now jumping into our fire team, that's going to be our super team. For the sake of testing and getting to MOC12 as fast as possible, it is going to be done with a full E6 Lingsha, E6 Rami, and E6 Cube. My Rebel here is E0 S1, but this fight is as straightforward as it gets, so I'm just going to let go of this one super clear. I think after this super because this is technically going to be E6, I'll do another run with Tribi plus Dihera to see how it's going to go. But I would think that team might have a little bit more of a problem because your wave 1 is not going to be AoE, right? This guy is going to summon the mobs, but once the mobs go away, it's not going to be too good for the remaining damage. But once you actually get into the TV boss, which is the part where it's going to be perma 5 targets, then Dihera is going to be doing quite well. So after this is going to be finishing up, I'll just go ahead with the the secondary team, right? So you can see Super Rate just instantly clears this because this is going to be full E6, so I'm not really going to say anything. I'll just let it play by itself. Nice. Yep, it gets us the Reba, gets us the action value advance, and that's gonna be the super kill, right? So if this was full E6, so definitely not meant relatable, but if you do have a E0, E1 super team, I don't think you should have any issues when it comes to clearing the TV. Alright, so that was basically like one of the few sample teams being considered. Yeah, I'll do one more run for Night 2 and Night 3, but instead of the same thing, I'll just change this up a little bit. So for Night 2, it's gonna be Cyrene alongside our Castorice, and then Night 3 is gonna be Dihera plus and next up with the E1 tribute on Lingsha State, right? So other than that, we're gonna jump straight into Aquila. So this is gonna be done with a Castorice without the Evernight. So we're just gonna be sticking with Cyrene plus Castorice over here to see where we are gonna be standing for this current rotation. Okay, I think the overall fight itself is also gonna be pretty straightforward. A little bit unfortunate that we're not gonna be using Evernight because I kind of just want to show the performance without Evernight. So we're gonna be summoning our Mimo sprites. Everything here is as per usual. We can pull up our Castorice first because Cyrene was going to go anyways. So more stack is going to be more stack. Okay. Honestly, you should have activated my Hyacinth armor just now before Castorice went. That was a bit of a misplay, but it is what it is. Alright. It's all good. Then once we get 100%, we're going to summon. Then once we summon, we're just going to slam in the dragon as per usual. One more stack for Cyrene is always good. Then Hyacinth is pretty much just gonna do her basic attack over here. Okay, and there's a Moon House stage, doesn't matter. I will let go of her ultimate first. Then Hyacinth lets go of her basic. And then Cyrene is gonna cast her skill. At this current point, you can see that we are getting a lot of counters, which I think is pretty good for your HP skill in DPS because you are taking quite a bit of hits for yourself, right? So we're just gonna be going for the skill. I kind of want to see if we can save a free Castorice out of my 22 AV, so I'm just going to save up over here. I'm not going to cast my out immediately. Okay, that's all good. Alright, 100% action value advance. Then once we get this, we are going to let Mimi pull us back up because it's going to be a free turn. So Mimi pulls us back up, casts my Hyacinth ultimate, and then I can cast my Cyrene ultimate. So we get a full refund over here. A little bit wasteful on RMC, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. So at this point, we're just going to go for the buff on Castorice, as well as the buff on RMC. Alright, then the rest of the fight, you're just going to continuously either use your Cyrene basic, the enhanced, this skill, or you're going to give the Hyacinth the additional battery herself, right? So for this current point, because we are going to be wasting the overflow a little bit, I want to see if it's able to get to a little bit higher stacks, so we can just clear this and go into Hule immediately, right? So this is going to be 150. Going to charge up a little bit more here, 177. 186. So hopefully this is going to be enough to just get, because this is only 2 targets. So it's going to be a lot more concentrated, especially with the additional multipliers. Flies away. 1.4 million. Does in fact get us a clear, so that's going to be quite good. Wait for him to summon the mob. Slamming our Mimi. He's going to hit us a bit over here, which is going to be completely fine. At this point, we're just going to continue to spend our skills on Hyacinth to generate more stacks. Then Cyrene is going to continuously use her basic attack. Okay, that's cool. We are going to go use our enhanced basic as well. 100%, we are going to pull up our Castorice. So this will continue from here. Another thing I mentioned with Castorice is that you ideally do not want to use your Cyrene ultimate before you cast your dragon, so you get a little bit more rest pen. So at this point, we're just going to continue to cast our skill. Dude is going to go. We're going to hold up all the way up until to 200%, so that we can deal higher single target damage. 176. Actually, you know what? Before he summons the goon, I'm pretty sure he hit 200%. But in case you don't hit 200%, you still want to let it go, because if you let him summon the mob, you're going to reduce the overall damage because of the bounce, right? But this should be pretty close. Okay, 197 is like, it's pretty much kind of there. So we can just slam all this in. Oh wait, yeah, you're supposed to press the Cyrene ultimate here. That was my bad, by the way. Yeah, you should press the Cyrene ultimate so that you get the rest pen field from Pollux. Can do a little bit more damage. But at this point, it's going to be 1.3 million. I'll just let this go for a Hyacinth, just in case you want a little bit more energy. But generally, you should always just be using this for the damage. Depending on the scenario, right? Depending on the scenario. So he's going to have the AoE. That's fine. We are running out of skill points here, so we're just going to edit it out. Okay. Go for the basic. RMC is going to come in. This should be 100%. Honestly, I should have saved my RMC ultimate so I can time it right after Castorice. But this is going to be a little bit more of a waste of value. Then we pull bro up. Then we continue as is. For this particular stat, we are not going to be going for 100% because he's almost dying. And at this point, my Castorice Dragon, it should be able to kill regardless, right? So let's just let go of one enhanced basic, just in case it's not going to be enough. So we get a little bit more damage, 240k. Then this should get us into phase 2, right? This should get us to phase 2. Flies up. Okay, very, very good. So let me cast my Hyacinth ultimate first before he hits us to get a little bit more energy. And then he's going to come in with the AoE, all that kind of stuff. Pretty standard from Hule. Continuously use your basic. Continuously cast your skill with Hyacinth. Okay, we're just going to save this up. Store a little bit more. Okay. For this particular point, we can actually go for a little bit more saving here. So we'll try to aim for the 100%. Alright, some of the goons. Take a little bit of hit. So immediately right after this, I want to see if it's going to be enough to get us to 200. I think it should be enough right here. If this is not 200, I'm just going to go, because otherwise it's going to be... Okay, yep, definitely 200. So we summon our dragon. We let go of our Castorice basic, so that we can try to kill the mobs. Then we'll concentrate the damage on Hule. So 246. This is going to be a double hit. 194. This pulling up is going to be a little bit awkward, but I'm just going to pull up Castorice just to do that little bit more and keep our buffs up. But the timing was going to be a little bit awkward from there. Now we can slam in our 200% multiplier. Down to 31%. And Cyrene is going to continuously cast off the hits over here, right? So we come here. Hyacinth activates the out. And then this is a a lot of room to improve for the 2-cycle dispatch. Unless we kill right here, then we're still going to be able to get a 1-cycle. Might be possible. I'll let him one more time. Just for a little bit more. Then Castorice is going to come. We'll do one last hit with Cyrene. See if we can get ourselves the 1-cycle. Okay. 19% HP remaining. Maybe. Okay, so that is actually gonna be a 1-cycle clear. Basically the same as the E2 and Nexa run if you are gonna be running the HP stealers. Yeah, I think that for Night 2 running HP here is actually quite nice because Hule does hit you very, very frequently. Other than that, I'm pretty sure that even if you run your version 2 follow-up team with Aventurine face out Robin, it's probably still going to be able to work because Hule was always going to be inherently weak to the Aventurine and whole follow-up attack R-type. So those are just some things that you guys can consider. So one last clear, and this is going to be our D Herda with a Nexa Tribi as well as a Lingsha sustain. Now for this particular team, I must admit, I think my Anexa, or rather my D Herda's gear is like really bad because I basically just ran for the auto to equip. But we'll just see where this goes. So this is gonna be our Tribi. Yeah, this is okay. Hold up, this is not DD. Speed is honestly a little bit fast. Oh my god, that is so bad. So this one, I believe we got introduced this for the Aquila rotation against Nicador. So he basically summons these mobs, which is always gonna make it a lot more easier for the erudition based DPS. Okay, Dioda, we definitely have enough skill points. So once a Nexa casts the basic, we're gonna go for the Tribi DDD. Then once Tribi gets the DDD, we can get my Anexa's ultimate here. Herda is 56 AV away, so that's gonna be quite far. Gets us the ultimate from our DDD. And then we can instantly cut in between right here. Very. So we instantly go to all the mobs. Slam this back down. 640. Yeah, 640 is very good. Alright, we're gonna get quite a couple of this over here. We should be able to save a little bit of skill points. Just because, okay, this can be a basic. Gets us the ultimate. Then Nexa is gonna skill. This is gonna be a skill into a base for Tribi. Assuming that he does not die here. Okay, that's all good. Monkey is gonna punch Dioda in the face. Completely fine. Gets us the emergency bunny. Nexa casts his double skill here. Okay, very good. He's gonna summon his goons again. Then D Herda will pretty much just get it over and done with. Right here. Alright, this should be more than sufficient. Okay, we didn't even need the ultimate. Okay, for this hit, remember that for this boss, you don't want to hit him immediately because he's gonna force transform any of these where you can't make them happy anymore. So you ideally only want to hit the other targets aside from the main dino. So I'm just gonna be going for, like, let's just say this guy over here because he's gonna be coming up next. Then we'll see if who he makes. He's gonna hit us with AoE. Don't care, just let it hit. Alright, now we can push this back up. Gets us a DDD. So now everybody is gonna be happy. We're gonna cast our skill just to refresh a little bit here. And hopefully, I'm just gonna cast my Herda ultimate before he gives us a free energy. Hopefully a Nexa does not break. Yeah, I really don't want a Nexa to break. So it's good that he does not have 5 weaknesses. Then I want to see if we get a free out with this over here. He is gonna break though. Oh, that is a little bit unfortunate. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna greet and go for the basic and see who he gives. Ideally not a Nexa. Anyone but a Nexa. Okay, that's good. So we got one for Dioda. We'll implant this. Alright, let's see who else he gives. Oh wait, he got broken, but okay, then that kind of air-wide it, right? It kind of air-wide it. He's gonna recover here, so at this point, I don't think you need to save anymore because he has 73 AV away, so you can just instantly come back up with the ultimate first. Then we can generate a little bit more energy for D-Herda when Lingsha goes. Alright? So this is gonna come. Then this is definitely gonna get us the kill to the next wave. Yep, 1.8. Okay, he's gonna hit this. This is fine. Hit out with the AoE, this is fine. Okay, this is fine. Bunny's gonna go. Now everybody's happy. We'll see who gives us the energy for this. Okay. Hopefully we do get it on. Okay, it doesn't really matter who he gets on. Just as long as a Nexa does not break this guy. That will be good. Was it this? Okay, it's this guy, right? Yep, so a Nexa is probably not gonna be breaking. So let's see who gets it. Okay, we got it on Nexa. I should have pressed that a little bit earlier so we can get one more ultimate. So that was my bad. But I think it doesn't matter because we should be able to get the clear right here with D-Herda. So this comes in. One more hit. Okay, yeah, so that is gonna be the clear D-Herda. But again, this is definitely not gonna be relatable because we are gonna be on E2 and Nexa, E1 Tribi as well as the E6 Lingsha. But just some team building ideas, right? It's not for the 0 showcase, just a couple of different ways that you want to try on the brand new set of Night 1, Night 2, and Night 3. Okay, so with all of those nights out of the way, I can finally come into the main menu. And that is Aquila herself. So this is gonna be the Sky Titan. So the Sky Titan is gonna be the brand new Anomaly Arbitration boss reset after Lygus. She plays, I'm not even sure, I think it's a she, right? She plays very, very differently from the way Lygus plays, where you are gonna see her summoning her 2 statues. So it's like 2 of the little summons which will buff her. And then for the Sky Titan Aquila herself, she actually has these 2 little wings, or like the heads, or like the whatever the long things are. They are part of Aquila. So it's like you're not really fighting multiple enemies. They are all part of Aquila. And once you get rid of those 2 little, those wave, little rope thingies, they will become untargetable. But once Aquila's turn begins, she will then refresh those 2 things again. Which means that there are gonna be windows of opportunities for Aquila where she will be purely single target, making units like Phainon exceptional against this boss fight. Because eventually once you clear out the 2 statues that upgrades her, as well as you break those 2 little thingies, she's gonna be full single target. Then Phainon can just come in, slam his meteors, bada boom, bada bing, bada bang, is gonna be able to get the job done, right? Aside from the usual way of breaking those things, you can still go for the traditional HP scaling DPS, such as your Castorice, Evernite, so this team over here, Castorice, Evernite, Hyacinth, and Cyrene, able to get a job done, 2 cycles, no issue whatsoever. Just get, because you're going to be taking a lot of burn damage from them, so you will be getting a lot of hits, right? In fact, I'm pretty sure Aquila hits you way more than Lygus, because the Lygus doesn't really deal that much damage, except for the one big 10 out of 10 wave, where he's just going to slam the entire meter to her entire face. So that was the only big. For Aquila, she has a lot of abilities that actually hit you for like very, very hard. So for example, if you're going to be running Phainon for Aquila, I highly recommend running up with a DHPD sustain. If you do not run DHPD, you could run a sustainless RMC clear. So from this, you can see from this, you can still run a sustainless, but you probably might need a global passive, right? Because for this, you can see this, I activated global passive on my entire team. They revive, and then we still get ourselves a clear. But at the end of the day, it was still a 2-cycle clear, which is the exact same as Cyrene with DHPD. So if you're going to be running this on Aquila, those are the things you're going to be noting for fun, right? Now, I would say that if you are not going to be having E2 Phainon, I don't really know if you can actually get a 3-star. So if you're going to be E0, probably closer to the 3 or 4-star, or rather the 3 or 4 cycle dispatch. If you do have an E2 Phainon, I think 3 stars should be pretty manageable. At least a lot more manageable compared to the last time with Lygus, right? So it's either going to be Phainon, you want to run with Castorice. So Cyrene is going to be able to work with a lot of teams, right? So you can run with your Castorice, you can run with Phainon. I think you can probably try running with your Anexa, maybe, because you are going to be single target. But there's one more team that actually works very well, and that is going to be from this buff right here, the DOT buff. So aside from your very obvious shielding for your healings, as well as your attack for skill damage and ultimate damage, you also have your DOT buff, which increases your DOT res by 40%, as well as a 30% speed buff. So it's kind of telling me that for this particular fight in Aquila, pretty much almost every single crisis, I feel that probably almost every single crisis can probably get this overdone with, assuming that you are able to make use of these buffs. So this one is definitely going to be for your HP DPS, your Castorice, your Evernite, your Mighty, and then this one is going to be your basic attack and attack scaling DPS. So your Anexa, your Phainon, your Aglaia, maybe even perhaps, right? Because you have basic attack, skill, and ultimate damage. And then lastly, it's purely straight for DOT. So I think Aquila, you can kind of just see which teams you can actually try. I'm not going to try every single team because we are like super overworking. I'll try this way more in the live server. For this particular rotation, I did try for myself E2 Phainon and E0 Castorice. Both of them clear in 2 cycles. So for this particular showcase, you can see the builds from just now. I'm just going to do one full run with Phainon, and we'll just wrap up this entire video, right? So this is going to be, I think this E2 S1 Phainon, E1 Cyrene, which honestly this E1 Cyrene is not even really necessary because the additional energy giving you the extra stack, you're not even going to use it since your transformation is going to be tied to Cyrene herself. So don't worry about it, right? Then it's going to be an E0 DHP, right? So now we're going to come in to Aquila. The boss one is pretty much almost the exact same you saw from the story. We're going to be getting hit, so we can instantly cast our ultimate. This is free. If you have yourself DDD on Cyrene, you can actually pull up your team a little bit higher, so maybe you can save a little bit more action value. Goes in for the break. You're going to hit us with an AoE. It's all good. So DHP is just going to constantly spam his skill, right? Keeping the shield up as high as possible. Cyrene refresh her buff on Phainon, keep the speed buff up, and then Cyrene is going to spam her skill. Phainon is going to be our skill point generator because I don't want him to transform before Cyrene gets her buff, right? So for this point, you kind of just want to deal with whatever you want, deal with a bit more toughness bar damage to break those things. Alright, we're going to get hit, which is okay. Now this is going to be a little bit scary, so you want to try to hit him as frequently as possible, as well as dispelling those these 2 statues so that he doesn't deal that much damage, right? So for this particular point, we are just going to be going for the basic over here. Gets us the skill. DAPG is going to cast the skill over here, just refresh our shield a little bit more. He's going to hit us for pretty hard. Right? Absolute Cinema. Comes back down. Yep, barely scratched the surface, so it's still gonna be very, very okay. Cyrene gets us the bonus stacks. We're gonna cast this. Okay, Cyrene is gonna cast a skill over here. And then once DHPD's turn begin, we're gonna hit 24 stacks. So it's gonna come. That was the AoE. Okay, not quite enough for the ultimate, so it's a little bit. If we had an ultimate there, we could have transformed that immediately, but it is what it is. So we're just gonna cast our skill. Cast our out. Don't waste any energy. Now finally we cast our Cyrene. So from this point onwards, we can just play the battle as is. So the rest of the team here, there's gonna be no longer relevant, right? So we're gonna give this to Phainon, and we're gonna give this to Cyrene. We are gonna be a little bit overstacked because we can't go beyond 8/6, but it's fine. Then this. Right, that's it. So the rest of the fight is gonna be transitioning to a different phase. You can see that for Aquila, you do not face any mobs. So you instantly fight against Aquila herself, but it's gonna be a 3-phase boss target. And each different phase will have its fresh set of different mechanics, right? So we're gonna come back down here. So we always slam in our enhanced skill for the very first time. No questions asked. 3 million, very, very nice. Into another 2.6 million. So at this point, you can see that these two things, they are going to be part of Aquila, but you can no longer target them. So if you were to use Phainon's taunt, you only bring up one guy, right? You can't bring up 3 different units at the same time, which is why when those things are broken, you just want to focus on Phainon's basic attack to deal all the damage you need. So this is going to be 4 out of 4. Slams this back down. And you can see at that point, they recover, right? So at this point, they recovered, and then this is going to be single target again, right? So it kind of just rotates between back and forth, between single target and AoE, right? So you can see we are going to be at 6 out of 6, but because we're not at 4 out of 4 yet, over here, we're just going to be going for the basic. Pulls up the dragon. 7% HP. And then we're going to be able to get the clear right here, right? So the sustained pressure on Phainon, honestly, is going to be almost non-existent, especially with DHPD. So this is going to definitely get us the clear into the next phase. So this will be the phase 2. Continuously slamming. So at this point, it's going to be for 3 targets. We can actually just pull them back up right now, because this will give us a little bit more stacks. Okay, it's all good. Alright, so those 2 things are the things that spawn. It's like the little minions, right? The little turret. So at this point, you can see it's going to be 5 targets. We can actually use our taunt again, because we are going to be able to tank quite a lot of hit over here Phainon. Alright, so he's going to start charging. He's going to start charging. But we're definitely going to be breaking them right here. So this slams down. Gets off a 960. And then this is going to be the enhanced skill. Very, very good. Almost there for Cyrene. So now it's going to be single target again. We're going to be going for the basic. Cyrene gets us the 6 out of 6. We go into the first cycle. And then we're going to slam down our duplicate. All single target, right? There we go. All single target damage. Bursts down the last 31% HP. Strikes from Thunder Cloud. So once you break him, once you break her, you're going to be able to see the Thunder Cloud thingy, which deals a decent chunk of damage as well. So at this point, you do not want to taunt him, because you do want to get off the physical bleed break. So just go for the basic. And then you're going to transform. But because we do have Cyrene, he is not going to exit this stage at all. So you can continuously slam your damage on him, right? So 9% HP, more than enough to get this. So this is going to be our final phase, where this is like he splits the 2 hit. If you play a story from 3.3, you know exactly what's like. So at this point, we can just go for the basic, because it's going to be a single target over here. So it goes for the basic. Dragon comes up. Then he will start slamming all these damage now. Alright? All these damage now. Now, keep in mind, for this particular stage, you could have remembered from the buff just now, higher scene joins your fight here. So for every single time you're going to be acting, this will go up higher and higher and higher, which is where we're going to be getting our different buffs for our attack buff, your basic attack buff, ultimate buff, skill buff, as well as the relevant things for your cast rates, for HP, as well as your DOT rest rate. So this is only going to be from your healing rainbow when the higher scene comes to the battle on the very, very last phase, right? So at this point, we just go back in for enhanced skill, poke out E2. Alright, so because this is going to be 3 target, we are just going to pull bro back up right now. Get us to a 6 out of 6. Okay, it's all good. We're gonna let go of our counter. That was a pretty big chunk of damage, but because we do have the DHPD sustain, it is not gonna be that scary. Right? So this is gonna go back on into our double skill. Okay. Then at this point, we're just gonna go single target. So we're gonna go for the basic. Gets a little bit of a shield. Now he's gonna cast this rod thing on you. So what rod essentially does is, you can see from the debuffs here, it will decrease your maximum restorable HP, which is a little bit like, you know, like the Sanctus Medicus or like the Ascended. She'll hit you with the debuff, where you cannot exceed the total amount of health remaining, which is like this thing here, right? This is a gray bar, so you cannot heal more than this. But frankly speaking, it's not going to be that big of a deal, because we're going to see Hyacinth join the fight right here. So very, very cinema, very nice. Gets us to full HP, and we're also going to be getting our attack buff from Hyacinth. Yep, so there's a power surge, increased attack by 2,000, right? As well as all of the skill damage and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be part of the fight itself. Slams back down for our single target again. Breaks Aquila. And then at this point, we just keep going our basic, right? When he's going to be Weakness Broken, you kind of just want to continuously do this. Okay. He'll recover here. And then we're going to be at 6 out of 6. Which means we should be getting our duplicate right here, right? So we slam in our enhanced skill. That's going to be 1. Okay. Then this is going to be a single target burst. Slams this back down. And then we're going to draw our one more basic attack. 29% HP. Okay. Hyacinth gives us a buff. We'll get off the transformation. We're going to be still in phase. Okay. Then we're going to finally let go with our final enhanced skill. 6 out of 4. Booms go down. Okay, 2% is kind of whatever, but that is pretty much gonna be the overall clear for Phainon. Still have quite a little bit of action value left. You wanna just like cinema house up a little bit, so a little bit more room for leeway, getting us the 2-cycle dispatch on E2 Phainon with Cyrene, DHPD as well as Cyrene. So that is gonna be our Aquila boss fight. I would say that if you do not have Cyrene for Phainon, I'm pretty sure you can still clear this with an E2. But just know that if you are not gonna be having Cyrene, E1 Cyrene actually gives you a lot of value, because this directly gives you the additional stack for military might. It gives you the 3 energy, which gives you core flame, which gets you to the ultimate stage a lot faster. So if you do not have Cyrene, it means that you will definitely leave your ultimate stage eventually when you're going to be running Sunday. So at that point, getting a E1 Cyrene here would help keep your final ultimate downtime a lot shorter, right? So if you do not have Cyrene, this will be a super nice item to have. Alright, so that was going to be the final clear. I'll just do one last clear because I thought it was going to be quite interesting to see how it's going to be looking like. So this is going to be our premium Castorice with Evernight, Hyacinth, and Cyrene. This is going to be E1 S1 Evernight, E0 S1 Hyacinth, E0 S1 Cyrene, as well as a E0 S1 Castorice. So everybody here is E0 except for Evernight, right? So I think the reason why I want to do this is because Castorice has been performing exceptionally well against Lygus. So I kind of want to just show you guys exactly what we're going to be cooking up for Aquila this time, where our E2 Phainon managed to get us the 2-cycle, roughly, I believe, 50 action value away from the start line. So let's just see where this goes. I would say, generally speaking, you are probably not going to be having too big of an issue for Castorice, just because Aquila herself, she deals so much damage to your team and you lose so much HP, they are going to be just getting a lot of value out of this entire rotation, right? So Hyacinth, we're going to be activating our ultimate and skill after we summon the jellyfish. Maximum charge, 84% on Castorice, slamming our dragon the moment it's up. Alright, gets us a dragon, and we're just gonna slam it in. Very normal. I just want to point out this little thing over here. This thing over here. Alright, this little bar. This is like the heat bar, where if the heat is gonna be too high, you're just gonna be, you know, taking out a little bit more. But generally speaking, you wouldn't really have to worry about it by that much, right? So we're gonna come back down. Okay, this is gonna swipe. It's all good. Okay, down to 26. Goes back down into the hit on Aquila. Everything else is going to be as is. Okay, then he is going to go back up on his turn. He's going to be fine. Summons our dragon. And then our dragon is going to bring the heat back down again. Alright, you can see the heat goes all the way down. Right, all the way down. Alright, 2.2 million. We're just going to chill here a little bit more and get our ultimate on this particular action right here. Right, so 24 seconds action. 10 AV before Cyrene. Then we're just going to use this to buff our Evernight as well as Castorice. Right, so we buff our Castorice, buff our Evernight, buff our Evernight. Right, so once Evernight is here, we can summon in our Evernight a Mimi. So we're going to summon our EV over here, 633k, very good. Okay, so for this particular point, we're going to activate our Hyacinth armor first before the jellyfish goes away, so we heal a little bit more. So this is going to be 149%. Now, because I know for a fact that he is probably going to be dying here, I'm just going to summon my dragon right now. Because he... Yeah, we're pretty sure this gets down to... Yeah, okay, this dragon is going to get us to the next phase. So if it's not going to be this next phase, ideally you just want to get this dragon up like as soon as possible. And against single target, because you are not purely against a single target all the time. So most of the time, you're still going to be spamming on Castorice dragon, right? So don't have to worry about it too much. But that's going to get us to phase 2. Cyrene cuts off the AoE. Castorice guards the swipe. And then once we get off the 100% stacks over here, we're gonna be able to get the hit. Alright. 107%. So that's what I'm talking about. Every single time you use your heals, you will always have a little bit more of excess, even though you want to use it as fast as possible. So this is going to be AoE 5 targets. Get this in. We're going to save our Cyrene ultimate a little bit just before 24, 25, just to see if we want to give it on Cyrene's basic or want to give it to Hyacinth's energy, right? So it kind of depends on the scenario. So this does a little bit more. It's going to hit us with an AoE. Okay, all good. Okay, continues on with our basic. So you can see here my Hyacinth energy is almost going to be full. So because of this particular rotation, we're going to be going for the swipe. 92%. Now because I know for a fact that my ultimate here is going to be able to get me the... like if I use Cyrene ultimate right now on Hyacinth, she'll get an ultimate, we can get a dragon. But because it's already going to be on Hyacinth's turn, there's no point getting the ultimate immediately because it's still going to be summoning the dragon. It will still be Hyacinth, right? So at this point, I'm just going to cause the skill. And we'll get our dragon right here. Then after we summon the dragon, we can get in our Hyacinth ultimate again, right? Or rather before the after we summon the Mimi as well, the EV from the jellyfish. So this is gonna be 3.6. Now this is gonna be pure single target. We can hit the thunderbolt over here. So good. Gets in our ultimate right here to get a little bit more charge. Okay, then now I know for a goddamn fact we're definitely gonna be able to save enough stacks for Cyrene's basic. So we are gonna be a little bit in excess. So before this spills up, let's just do our basic right now because I want to try to get this down to as low of HP as possible. 16%. He's gonna summon. It's all good. Okay, so I'm gonna cast my Evernight out into my Hyacinth, into my Castorice. Now I'm pretty sure my Castorice will get us a clear, but just in case we don't get a clear, I'll just let go of a Mimi attack. Because this is quite a decent amount, right? 846k. So this is definitely going to be able to get us the clear right here. Alright. 870, last 8%. And what it is, what it is, right? So now we're going to get us into the final phase. We're going to be taking a lot of damage from the from him, which is going to be fantastic for Castorice because we're losing a lot of HP. So we're going to continue with the swipe. Continue with the basic. Okay, continue with this. Summons our dragon right here. Because it is not going to be single target, then we always want to slam our dragon as fast as possible. Okay. I think at this point, we might be able to get my full ultimate on Hyacinth when we Cyrene out. So, probably a lot of value. How much are we lagging? This is 13. 24 is not enough. Okay, then unfortunately, we just have to do this. So let's go back down. Summon our out. And then if we are able to get off the dragon, we can do it right before Cyrene. Okay, that's all good. Hyacinth heals us. Okay, fantastic. So yes, the Hyacinth heal does in fact give us the HP consumption for new butt, right? So that's going to be fantastic. So the Flame Journey is going to begin. Activate our ultimate during our rest pen state for 960,000. Gets us a duplicate here as well for 831. Fantastic. Then now this is going to be single target burst damage. Slams back down. And then he's gonna transform back out over here, right? More AoE, all that kind of stuff. Doesn't really matter that much. Continues on with the slice. Continue with this. And then once we get a heal, we're gonna be able to get ourselves the Castorice ultimate right here. Then we're gonna do the exact same thing again. So we use our Cyrene out right here during our dragon uptime. 1 million. Now this is gonna be single target, so less damage loss from the bounce. Then everyone is gonna go back up in there with the skill into the ultimate. Alright, so this is gonna skill. Cast this. Gets us the ultimate. So when we get the ultimate, I'll heal a little bit more from the free Hyacinth as well, which is always quite good. Alright, it's a little bit more charge, 60%. It's fantastic. So this comes in. Hits us with the rock, which is completely fine. Goes for the basic. Once Castorice swipe here, we should be able to get ourselves a clear, right? Yeah, 170%. Then this is gonna go ahead with another Cyrene hit. Alright, we're gonna continue to spam our Cyrene hit. 1.2 million. Slams back down with another dragon. Don't think we're gonna be able to get ourselves a 2 cycle here, unfortunately. 25% HP is gonna be a little bit far off. Gets our Evernight down. Cast us the heal. Okay, at this one we're just gonna save a little bit more. I'm not gonna cast my dragon immediately, I'll just save a little bit more. Because is we either clearing one cycle or it's gonna be clearing 2 cycles, right? And if that's gonna be the case, I will just let go of this right now. I'll wait for my turn to begin. So now I'll summon my dragon, because during the dragon's field time, my Avalanche does more damage. So at this point, we can just slam this in. Just for as much damage, for 2.5 million, fantastic. So last 11%. Let's see if this is gonna be enough. Last 5. And okay, there we go. So with our Castorice premium team on Avalanche, Hyacinth, Cyrene, and herself, we're able to get a 1 cycle clear, which is still gonna be faster than our E2 Phainon, considering the fact that we are gonna be getting our E1 Avalanche. Right? If we didn't have that E1 Avalanche, we definitely would not have dealt enough damage to actually get us the clear. Right? So I think for the build, so there's gonna be all the builds over here. Let's show for this entire video. Right, E1 S1, this is E0 S1, this is E0 S1, DHPD is also E0 S1. Can just see the views for yourself. Phainon is going to be our E2 S1 over here. Servidra is E1 S1. So like I mentioned, this E1 is very important if you're going to be running Sunday instead of Cyrene to get the buffs back up, right? So this is our E2 and Nexa. Cypher I didn't use. Then this is our E1 S0 Tribi. Mighty didn't use. I think all of our break is going to be all E6, so don't worry about it. This is going to be our E2, E0 S1 D-Herda. And then we have the... what are the units that we use? I think that's kind of it, right? Okay, we have our E0 S1 Reba. The build is not going to be that insane. This is our E0 S1 Sunday speed tune. And yep, that's pretty much it. I'll be looking forward to the live story. We're going to be doing like another 100 videos for Anomaly Arbitration. So I don't want to do too much for this. But these are just going to be the overall first impressions. What you need to know. What the boss mechanics are going to be for the brand new Aquila as well as the different Nitro. So if you have any comments, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We have one more currency war in me. And I'm pretty much going to be done here. My editor is wholly overworking. So www. For today is going to be Bird. Use code for $10 gamers out and global free shipping. All the best. I'll see you guys next time. Okay.